We're ready to go blind some mother.
Here is our 2016 Toyota 4Runner. It's been a great adventure vehicle that we've had over the last few years. But the only problem we've ever had is night driving. We've done some research and we found that Auxito, a company we used in the past for some light bulbs on our vehicles, has come out with a new set of off-roading lights, the Xplore-1. Now, being the mechanic that I am for the last 10 years, I must tell you guys, I'm thoroughly impressed with this design. So I'm gonna show you guys what it's gonna take to install them on your vehicle, how long it's gonna take, what tools you're gonna need, and also, we're gonna test them at night tonight. We're gonna also have timestamps down below to help you guys jump to sections, so when you get to that stage of your installation process. Let's get started. So here's the additional items. I'm gonna have a link down below for you guys so you can find them easier. We have zip ties, metric wrenches, wire cutter and crimper, wire stripper, a Phillips screwdriver, metric sockets, ratcheting wrench, or power tool. You're gonna need a T30 torque socket for our roof rack style, some additional nuts and bolts from your local hardware store. There's also need some terminal crimper for the terminals. Again, all the items here will have a link down below. But the last thing I must mention, sourcing your own wire harness. Now, I found this one on Amazon. I'm gonna link them down below as well. This is a 4-gang, but I'm gonna have an additional one as well, so we can wire 2 sets of lights in parallel. And also to make your installation a little bit more cleaner, we have this universal wire hider. So finally, Auxito Xplore-1 lights. So you open your box, product and user manual. You'll get 2 lights, either in amber or in white, a wire harness, but it's only wired for 2 lights. If you want to run multiples, it helps out to have the additional splitter harness already pre-done. So you want to open your hood, disconnect your battery, undo your grounds, set him aside, and then now the vehicle is safe to work on. Now there's 2 ways you can install the lights. One, using the Auxito's provided harness, and you can plug right onto your battery. Though, if you are like me and already have a switch panel, I'm gonna show you guys how to do that today. So having a switch panel is great because it gives you multiple circuits to plug into. So for your vehicle to install ditch lights, you're gonna need a vehicle-specific bracketing for your mount. Now on this one right here, we have Cali Ray's Offroad bracketing already pre-done. So all we just need to do now is mount our lights to these ones. But if you don't have them, just go ahead and go online and go order a set when you're ordering your lights. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start with is just mounting our lights. And I have sausage fingers, so this makes it a little more difficult. Now that we've secured the light on this side, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of the vehicle as well. If you have a child, or a partner or a friend with small hands, this is a good time to have them come over and help you out. Now, the one thing we do is we leave them snug, but not completely tight, just enough so you still play with them. All right, so let's move on to our next step of wiring up the harness. So since we are setting ours up with a switch panel, we do not need all this harness. So I'm gonna show you the parts you do need and which wires you need to cut. You need to identify which 2 leads you need, which is these 2. To estimate how much wire we're gonna need, take 2 arm lengths of wire to stretch across your wingspan, and then take some extra, so that way later on we can cut this down 2 sides. We're gonna cut the harness, and only for those 2 leads. Now after we've already cut the wire, you're gonna then bring it to your vehicle and stretch it out after you've plugged them into the lights. So what you wanna do is find the ideal position to route the wire through. In our situation, we like to run it underneath this weather stripping right here for the hood, and then plug it straight in. Then you want to loosely route it along where you want to run your harness. In our situation, we're going to follow the factory harness in the back of the motor. So we're going to take a handful of zip ties and then secure the harness as we go along. All right, now that we have it secured, here's the wiring process. You're gonna wanna route your wires through the opening of your switch panel. Then you're gonna wanna strip back some of the shielding. You're gonna want to remove about a 1/4 inch of material from each wire. Then you're gonna wanna match up yellow to yellow, red to red, black to black,
and then twist them together. Finally, you're going to want to put the correct size terminal on each of them and crimp. Now this next part's important. The yellow wire is your daytime running lights. The red wire is your power wire for your main lights, and the black wire is your ground. Now, where to plug them in on your panel. I'll explain. So here's a bit of electrical knowledge to help you determine how much amperage your item will draw. You're going to need to use the formula, of course, of watts divided by volts will equal your amps. So for example, our main lights, the red and black wire, draws about 90 watts. When we divide our battery voltage, which in this case is 12 volts, we get 7.5 amps. So we can safely plug them into a 10 amp circuit. The yellow wire is our daytime running lights, and they draw about 3.6 amps. So we can safely plug them into a 5 amp circuit.
So if you do not have a switch panel installed and you're looking to get one installed in your vehicle to install your lights, there's many videos out there that will help you step by step install one on your vehicle. So now that we've wired our lights up correctly, now we need to make sure everything works. So what do? You plug it back in your battery, all right, both terminals, and you flip the switch. All right, our daytime running lights are working, and our ambers are working, and they both work together. Dance mode has been activated over here. So now that we've activated party mode, we can see that tonight is gonna be real fun. Let's finish this build. We gotta take off our valence right here so we can install 8 lights across the top. We're just gonna take our electric ratchet with a T30 Torx. Just go ahead and unbolt this guy. And lift it straight off. We can then slide in the T-slot all our lights. Okay, so what we have to do now is install our 8 lights across our valence right here. So we can take our lights and secure them So now that we've checked our spacing and we have them just about right, I think we're ready to install this on the roof now. Really quick, before we start plugging these guys in, we gotta do a little bit of math. Each light draws at least 70 watts. So we have 8 lights in total right now, which would be a total of 560 watts. So 560, divide that by 12, gives us 46.66 amps. We have a bit of a problem with ours. Each circuit on one of these switch panels is usually limited to 30 amps. So how are we gonna split the difference to make that better? So we're gonna split this into 2 circuits. So each one will roughly pull 23 amps of power, allowing us to still light up all 8 safely. But if you wanna avoid all that and you wanna just wire this up with 1 circuit, 1 switch, you can buy yourself on Amazon a switch circuit similar to this one, and it'll have 8 leads or 4 leads or 6 leads, whichever you may need for your application, to run all lights at one time. So we're not using this today because we have a switch panel already, so we're just gonna go ahead and plug and play. So the way we're gonna break up our lights, we're gonna have the center 4 light up on 1 circuit, and then the outer 4 will light up on a 2nd circuit. So for this part right here, sometimes you may need a friend to help you install this, or maybe just get some random guy just walking by. Hey, you busy, bro?
Hey, man.
Yeah, you.
All right.
Up and over we go.
Oh, wait a minute. What a coincidence.
Yeah,
It seems to have the bolts for this exact vehicle.
Oh
this
my
exact
gosh,
setup.
man.
Who would have known? Who would have thought? And I found them.
Dude, but thank you, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
So in this vehicle, we have a sunroof, so we're gonna use this to our advantage. And there we go. I'm gonna line these guys up so that the longer end of the harness can go down the driver's side of the vehicle. So our first leg, we're gonna wire the center 4 into one, and then the outer 4 into the other one. That's our first one. Then we'll grab our second leg. We're gonna head on the outside of the vehicle and show you how we route it on this vehicle. So first, we're just gonna route the legs down. Now we're gonna take a zip ties and start securing this guy in place. I just found out right now my zip ties are not quite long enough. And that happens to you, that's okay. Take a second zip tie, link them together. Now we just double our length. So you know it's, if you have a friend with long arms or you want to sit going through the sunroof, that works too to access this. Okay, so now that we have them all secured, now we just need to go through and just clip off the excess from the zip ties. Now, a quick anti-theft, if you really don't want anyone stealing these or climbing up on here, cut them at an angle. That way, the next person that tries to take them will get jammed in the finger or the fingernail. So the next part we are gonna do is install our hide-a-wire, and this will help us give a cleaner look for our installation. So really quick, it's also important to read the instructions before you start. I'm just kidding, we don't read instructions. So what you're gonna wanna do first is with the wire hire, you wanna figure out your route. Right here will be about right for our vehicle. Okay, take this piece, toss it in the trash. So this is pretty straightforward. I'm gonna go ahead and peel off one side of the double-sided tape, stick it to the track right here, and essentially do that the whole way down. All right, so next part, before we put on our double-sided tape, we just need to make sure this glass is clean, so we're just gonna hit it with some glass cleaner. Now also included in the pack is this alcohol swab. Just go ahead and rip it open.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's about 90% isopropyl alcohol.
Is that the good stuff?
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Damn, bro.
There, so that we have good adhesion. So now we just go ahead and just grab our 3M. We're gonna start removing this guy. Guide it in position and work from your top down. Now the wire hider is in place. So maybe wondering, how am I gonna get the wire through this guy? How do I, the great part with this, it opens up. So you just open up the hider, slide your wires into place. Now, if you have shielding like the one we have right here, you may have to remove this exterior shielding in order to fit. We're probably gonna do that right now. Cut a little slit right here and here, and then cut it again down here on the shielding to remove, so we can slide in this wire. You wanna pinch this guy and feel it with your fingers. You feel all 3 wires inside. You then take a little razor blade, just cut it open like so. And there we go. Now it's exposed. Now we're gonna do the same thing up here as well on both ends of the wire harness. Like that, ta-da. So they don't tell you this and they don't put in the manual, but I will tell you this, guys. You need someone to be standing on the side, having a drink, and of course, every so often telling you.
What? Oh, I'm the supervisor? Yeah, you're doing it wrong, dude. Come on, do it right.
So we're gonna go ahead and open this up. And be careful, the 3M feels like it doesn't want to stick or come off. Don't worry, it will stay in place.
It looks like you're having a hard time. I think it doesn't like it gentle, you gotta be rough.
So now we're gonna plug in our lights. So before we go ahead and plug these lights in, we need to do one quick safety thing. There's 2 ways we can go about this. Since we have a switch panel, we can just lift up and hit the breaker, and this will make sure that we have no power going to any of these switches at all. But if you didn't have that, and you had the other traditional wire setup, you would unplug the batteries, power and ground. But we're just gonna put this cover back on, and now we can wire up our lights. So we need to determine which of these wire sets is our inner and outer wire set. So quick test to do that is take our wires, our power and our ground. All right, power it and ground it. And then we determine that right there is our center 4 lights. So that means this would be our outer 4 lights on this one right here. So first part, just pull the wires up and through. So just like before, we're gonna just cut back the shielding again. So now that we have this done, you're gonna do the same thing when we do the other side, except for one thing, and I'll tell you that in a second. But I'm gonna show you how to wire up your amber lights for your daytime running lights on one circuit. And we're strip these white wires together, and then we're gonna splice them into one. We're wiring our day running lights together, so which is these 2 white wires. Now we do that way so that they can all turn on at once on the same circuit, because they do require less amperage to run than the white lights do. So currently we're out of 10 amp positions on our switch panel here. If we were to put this guy on the 5 amp position, this would pop too fast, you know, if we were to run them both. If we were to run this on the 20, it would not pop fast enough and could potentially be a fire hazard. So how do we remedy this? We will swap the 20 right here we have for a 10 amp fuse, and the circuit should be safer. So when we did factor down the math for the daytime running lights, it did come in somewhere around 7 amps. So 10 would be our next closest one to accommodate for potential fuse blowing. If it were to draw more than 10, it would pop the fuse and we would be safer. So now we just need to plug in our lights and just quickly unscrew these. And now we have all the wires installed. And now we just put the cover back on. Now, let's test out our lights. Okay. This is the most important part with the switch panel. We're just gonna label our switches. Not sure how many lumens that is, but it's bright.
All right, so we're ready to go blind some other doing.
Now the hard part's done. We're gonna now have the fun part and see how these lights look at night. All right, guys. So we're on the trail finally. Let's see how bright they are. Here goes nothing. Wow. Now that is some throw when you guys hit the switch on these. That is a night and day difference. Like, you definitely can see all the way down to the end of the trail. Wow, that's impressive. This looks dangerous, honestly, with my regular headlights right now. So let me just, I'm gonna feel a little more comfortable. I'm just put them all back on at once. Wow, that is something though. All right, let's just go back to regular headlights for just a second. Whoa. Now, that's a pretty stark difference with headlights and no headlights. Here we go. Oh, wow. Definitely, you can see the whole trail and then some. So headlights, you're great, the LED works. However, you can't compete with this. I gotta say, I don't know how I did this before with just the regular headlights on this vehicle. This is a night and day difference with, you know, what I'm seeing here. With this regular headlights, you can see just enough. But these are, it's like daylight in a switch. So it's just like turning night into day. This is, wow, this is scary actually. I don't know how people can drive without this. Ditch lights or A-pillar lights can mount to either A-pillar or your hood, and they throw the beam to your sides where your headlights would kind of miss. They come in 2 sizes for ditch lights, a 3.5 inch and a 4.5 inch. So which one do I actually need? Well, the 3.5 inch, smaller, compact, and will light up a smaller area and draw less power. However, the 4.5 inch, since it's larger, will have a bigger reflector, so it's gonna throw more light where you want it. They have aluminum housings, they're IP67, IP69K rated. So dust, mud, rain, and even pressure washing, they can handle. Now they both come with a amber day running light option, which looks insane on the front end. Now I went with the Xplore-1 from Auxito, and honestly, for the cost, the build, the quality is way beyond what I expected. So check them out. All right, after a full day of installation and now some night driving, I gotta say, I'm thoroughly impressed with this. For what you're paying with the Auxito light system, guys, you are getting the best bang you can get for your money. Now, if you wanna get anything else comparable, you're gonna spend thousands for other brands. But Auxito, they really hit the nail on the head with this one. I wanna leave a link down below for you guys to get your set of lights and any other things you may need for your installation for your off-road lights. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. I do a lot more adventure videos for you guys as well. And we do also some other installations as well. So guys, until next time, we'll catch you then.